Hello everybody, welcome to physics class. My name is Ravi Kumar. We are in the chapter moving charges and magnetism, and the topic we are going to discuss today is about a solenoid. Now a solenoid is used for producing a uniform magnetic field in a required small region. Now it consists of a hollow cylinder, non-conducting hollow cylinder, upon which we are winding a wire. The wire is wound in the form of helix. Now when the current is passed, a magnetic field is produced. So that's how the solenoid is working. Here the length of the solenoid is much larger as compared to diameter. Then you can call it as a long solenoid. Then the magnetic field produced inside can be taken as uniform. So generally for ideal condition, we take long solenoid where length is very large as compared to radius. Now here this is the solenoid. So the current is passing. So we are showing the direction here. So due to the flow of current in the wire, a uniform magnetic field is produced inside. Now if you observe from one side, suppose you observe from this side, the current appears to flow in the anti-clockwise direction. So as we can see here, the current is in the anti-clockwise direction. So using the right hand thumb rule, the thumb is pointing outwards. So that means the magnetic field is coming out. So this face will act like a north pole. So this is like a north pole. Similarly from the other side, if you observe from this side, the current will be in the clockwise direction. And when the current is clockwise, the thumb is pointing into. So the magnetic field is into the plane. So this face will act like a south pole. So the solenoid is similar to a bar magnet. So here we can show the magnetic field lines. So they will be emerging from the north pole. So this is north pole and the other one is south pole. The lines are emerging from the north pole and moving toward the south pole. And inside they are moving from south pole to north pole. So it is similar to a bar magnet. Now, here we consider two adjacent loops. For convenience, we take two adjacent loops. So what happens is, the lines will be entering the south pole and coming out of the north pole. So, suppose you take any two adjacent loops here. We are showing the magnetic field lines. So, they are entering from the south pole and coming out of the north pole. Here also they are entering the south pole and coming out of the north pole. Now what we can observe is, outside the solenoid, here the magnetic field lines are opposite. Therefore, the magnetic field becomes zero. So B is equal to 0 outside. So on both sides, the magnetic field becomes zero because the magnetic field lines are opposite. Inside, the magnetic field lines are almost parallel to each other. So inside, B will be uniform. So B is uniform inside and 0 outside. So that's what we observe. This is the solenoid. Now we will be finding the strength of the magnetic field inside the solenoid. So we can use Biot-Savart's law and also the Ampere's law. Both can be used for finding the strength of the magnetic field. Now we find the strength of the magnetic field inside a solenoid by using the Biot-Savart's law. So here we have a solenoid. We can take it as a long solenoid. L is the length. Suppose R is the radius. we are winding the wire. Number of turns per unit length is taken as n. Then L is the length, R is the radius. Here we consider an element dx. A small element is taken. So in that element, number of turns will be n into dx, because n is the number of turns per unit length. So number of turns in this element will be n dx, and this element is at a distance x from this point. This is the O, center. So from here the distance is x. So due to this element, so element is in the form of a loop. Due to this element, we will be finding the magnetic field at O, means here. Due to this element, the magnetic field at O, that we are finding. Now, here theta is the angle subtended by this element at this point. So here this angle is theta, means this angle is theta. So this angle is also theta again. So, and here both ends, A and B, will subtend angle theta 1 and theta 2. Means with respect to this vertical at the center, the angle subtended by both A and B will be theta 1 and theta 2. So, first consider this current element, the circular loop. So due to this circular loop at a distance x, we are finding the magnetic field. So that is given by using the Biot-Savart's law. dB is equal to mu naught. Number of turns in this element will be n dx. So n dx array. Current is I. Radius is r, so r square by 2 into r square plus x square to the power of 3 by 2. So using the formula for the circular loop, dB is equal to mu naught, number of turns is n dx in that element, current is I, r square by 2 into r square plus x square to the power of 3 by 2. Now we take this triangle, means this triangle we take. This angle is theta, this angle is also theta. So tan theta is equal to x by r. So x is equal to r tan theta. Now if we differentiate this, dx is equal to r into secant square theta dt. That is after differentiating. Now we substitute the values of x and dx in this form. So dB is equal to mu naught n. Dx means you can write this r secant square theta d theta into r square into I by 2 into here r square plus x square to the power of 3 by 2. Now x is equal to r tan theta. Therefore, here 2 into r square to the power of 3 by 2 means you will get r cube. That's how we are taking outside. 1 plus tan square theta. So secant square theta whole to the power of 3 by 2. So simplifying it. Here secant cube theta, here secant square theta. So that will get cancelled. R cube and R cube will get cancelled. So mu naught n I by 2 into here cos theta dt. So that is the value of dt. So due to a small element, we are finding the magnetic field at 2. So that's given by mu naught Ni by 2 cos theta dt. So for the entire solenoid, we can integrate and substitute the proper limits. So the total magnetic field mu naught Ni by 2 integration of cos theta dt. Now here we take the limits. Theta 1 angle subtended by A at this one. So theta 1. And theta 2 is the angle subtended by B. So this side can take negative, that side is positive. So minus theta 2 to theta 1. So simplifying. So integration of cos theta will be sin theta. So B is equal to mu naught Ni by 2 into sin theta 1 plus sin theta. So that is the general expression we are getting. B is equal to mu naught Ni by 2 sin theta 1 plus sin theta 2. So here, depending upon the size of the solenoid, we can apply for different cases. So this is the general formula, mu naught Ni by 2 sin theta 1 plus sin theta 2. So we are taking the angle subtended by both ends at this point. So theta 1 is this angle from A, and theta 2 angle subtended by other end at the center. So mu naught Ni by 2 sin theta 1 plus sin theta 2. So here we can consider different cases. Suppose we take a long solenoid. We want to find the magnetic field at the center. So if it is infinitely long, then the angle subtended by both ends at this point will be equal to 90 degrees, nearly 90 degrees. So theta 1, theta 2 become equal to 90 degrees. Then you can write B is equal to mu naught Ni by 2 into 2. So mu naught Ni. So that is the magnetic field at the center. So as we have discussed, the magnetic field is 0 nearly outside. There is almost no magnetic field outside. Inside it is uniform at the center. So that's given by mu naught Ni. So it depends on the current and number of turns per unit. Similarly, at one end, so here also long solenoid, but we are finding the magnetic field at one end. So that means we want to find the magnetic field at this end. Suppose this is A, the other end is B. So this angle theta 2. So because this end, we are finding the magnetic field at this point. So theta 1 will be 0 because the O is coinciding with A. So theta 1 will be 0 and theta 2 can be taken as 90 for a long solenoid. In that case, substituting in this formula, we get B is equal to mu naught Ni by 2. So that is the magnetic field at any one end. Suppose we are given a finite length solenoid. Length of solenoid is L. R is the radius. So we want to find the magnetic field at the center. Now if you consider symmetric case, O is the center, both ends subtend the same angle. So you can take theta 1 equal to theta for symmetry. So length will be each L by 2. So radius is R. So here B is equal to mu naught Ni by 2. Here 2 sin theta 1. Now sine theta 1 is equal. So you can take this triangle, sine theta 1. This is L by 2 by this will be root of L square by 4 plus R square. So if you simplify this, you get L by root of L square plus 4R square. So that is sine theta 1 and sine theta 2. That I can substitute. So 2 gets cancelled. V is equal to mu naught Ni into L by root of L square plus 4R. So that is the magnetic field at the center. In case we want to find at any one end, then so we can take this. This angle is theta, theta 2 we take. Theta 1 will be 0, theta 2 can find out. So this length will be L. So B is equal to mu naught Ni by 2. Theta 1 is 0, so sine 0 is 0 plus sine theta 2. Now sine theta 2 means L by root of L square plus R square, because this is R. So I can write V is equal to mu naught Ni by 2 into L by root of L square plus R square. So like that, at any one end of a finite solenoid you can find out. So just we have to find the theta 1, theta 2, and from that you can find the values of sine theta 1 and sine theta 2, and then substitute. Now we find the magnetic field inside a solenoid using the Ampere circuit law. So here this is a solenoid carrying a current as shown. Now we can represent like this. Here the current is coming out and entering here. So I am showing this. Dots represent the current coming out here, and here they are entering. So they are coming out and entering into this one. So that is how we are showing. So the magnetic field lines are inside. They are uniform almost. So they are showing the direction of the magnetic field lines. So capital N is the number of turns, total number of turns you can take in a given length L. Here we imagine Amperian loop. It is a square loop. PQRS is a square loop. You can call it as the Amperian loop. Side length is L. So in this length, number of turns is capital N. Here small n can be taken as the number of turns per unit length. So L is the length and I is the time. So we'll be applying the Ampere circuit law. So integrate for the entire loop we take integration of B dot dl. This is for PQRS. For the closed loop, PQRS we are taking. So that's equal to mu naught into net current enclosed by the loop. So if L is the length, number of turns will be capital N. Therefore, net current will be N into I. So that is the Ampere circuit law. Now, this term can be split into 4 parts: PQ, QR, RS and SP. So you can write it as integration of, we take from Q to R. So Q to R, just take it. B dot dl plus, next we take RS. So B dot dl plus SP. S2P B dot dl plus P to Q B dot dl. So that's equal to mu naught n I. So we are splitting this into 4 parts. So for each side we can find out. Now we take the first one, Q to R. Now integration of B dot dl from Q to R is equal to 0 because the magnetic field is horizontal and the length L is vertical. So angle between them is 90 degrees. Therefore, integration of B dot dl will be 0. Similarly, for S2P also, B dot dl will be 0. Next, we take this one, R to S. Here, B is equal to 0 outside. As we have seen, the magnetic field will be 0 outside the solenoid. Therefore, integration of B dot dl from R to S is also equal to 0 because B is equal to 0. Therefore, the only term left over is this one. So, integration of B dot dl from P to Q. So, that's equal to mu naught n I. So, this length will be L. So, B into L is equal to mu naught. Now, capital N can be taken as N into L. So, N L into I. So, that means B is equal to mu naught N I. So, that is the expression for the magnetic field at the center of the solenoid. So, generally, we are taking, in case of a long solenoid at the center, we will be using this formula. Long means radius is small as compared to the length. So, next one is the toroid. Toroid is similar to solenoid. It is used to produce a uniform magnetic field in a small region. Now, just suppose you take a solenoid and bend in the form of a ring, then we get the toroid. So here, a toroid consists of a non-conducting ring on which a conducting wire is wound. So as the current is passed through it, a magnetic field is produced inside the material, inside the hollow space of the toroid. Now here, we find the strength of the magnetic field. Suppose capital R is the radius. We are taking the radius means from the middle of the central portion to center O. This is the center. So that is the radius. Now we consider Amperian loops. So 3 Amperian loops we are taking. One loop is A. Radius is R1. It is inside the toroid. Next, another Amperian loop is B. It is inside the material of the toroid. Here. Radius is capital R. Then other one is C. This one. Outer one is C. So this is completely outside the toroid. Radius is R2. You can take. Here the current passing, as I have shown the direction of the current. The current is coming out here and entering here. So we are showing the dots, means the current is coming out and entering here. So the current is flowing in this way. So here we are to find the strength of the magnetic field. So capital N represents total number of turns and small n represents number of turns per unit length. So you can take n is equal to capital N by 2 pi r. Now we have taken 3 different Amperian loops. So for we apply the Ampere's circular law for each loop. So first we can take this one A. For the loop A, So integration of B dot dl means you can take it as B into radius is R1, so 2 pi R1. Now here this Amperian loop does not enclose any current because the currents are shown here and the loop is completely inside. So it is not enclosing any current. Therefore, net current enclosed will be 0. So it is not enclosing any current. That's why B into 2 pi R1 is equal to 0. Therefore, B is equal to 0. Now, take the outer loop. So here for the loop C. So integration of B dot dl is equal to B into 2 pi R2. Radius is R. Now here, this is the outer loop. It is enclosing these currents. Here what we observe is, some of them are coming out. All these currents are coming out. And all these currents are entering into. And the number of currents entering is equal to number of currents coming out. Therefore, the net current will be 0. So, here again this is 0. Here because net current will be 0. So that means B is equal to 0 outside also. So completely inside B is equal to 0 and completely outside B is equal to 0. Now we find the magnetic field inside the material. So that is the loop B. So integration of B dot dl is equal to, here B into, here radius is capital R is taken. Therefore 2 pi R. So that's equal to, now this loop is enclosing only these currents. Okay. Therefore we have to add them. The number of turns is capital N. Therefore net current will be N into I. So mu naught N I. So B into 2 pi R is equal to mu naught N I. So here I can write B is equal to mu naught N by 2 pi R into I. So N by 2 pi R represents number of turns per unit length, that is N. Therefore B is equal to mu naught N I. So that is the magnetic field inside the material, hollow space of the toroid. So inside the empty space, the magnetic field is 0, that is here, and outside also is 0. Only inside this material, the magnetic field will be present. So that is almost a uniform magnetic field given by mu naught N into I.